Hello? Hey, it's been a long time. What's gonna follow this clip that I'm doing right now is a bunch of other clips where I say a bunch of stuff. You don't have to watch it if you don't want to. I know I probably wouldn't if I didn't think I was so gosh darn entertaining, but not everyone does. Full disclaimer. Hey, I'm gonna give you the too long, didn't watch version of everything that follows this clip. A couple weeks back, I broke my phone, shattered it to pieces like James Fry style. It was intense. And then I had no phone. And when I have no phone, that means I have nothing. My life is meaningless. So there's no footage to gather. Just recently replaced that phone, so we're back up and running. Things that have happened since then. I took a couple of runs. One of them was crazy. It was really hot. I had to go to Cal State Fullerton and deliver a load to a guy named Kyle. It turned out to be a little bit sketch. It's totally fine. On that trip, I was on my way down from Utah to Southern California. In the nature, she was really working hard to get a hold of me, and somewhere near Barstow, the food kicked in, and I had to like climb down underneath an overpass and relieve myself. And it was one of those existential crises where I was like, what's the meaning of life? Why am I here? Why am I pooping under a bridge? Hey, but it happens. That's trucking, is what they say. Hey, so all that happened, and then I went home and I had a super awesome weekend, except that my mother-in-law tried to kill me. Those are all the pertinent facts. Happy to be back. We're gonna do some more vlogs. Catch up with you soon. Oh, back at it, y'all. On the road again. A little bit of a hiatus. Had some technical difficulties. I went ahead and destroyed my previous phone. And by phone, I don't mean telephone. I mean universal everything device that I keep in my pocket. And it was just toasted. I went to the park with my children, and I was chasing them around, and somewhere in the process, I just completely shattered my phone. So then I had to get that replaced, and then things got a little bit hectic at work and everything. And then I took vacation and went camping with the family, my in-laws. It was pretty awesome. Took a nice little float trip down the river, 11 miles in the kayak I did. So yeah, 4th of July was a pretty big hit. Now we're back on the road, living in the real world, getting to work. I'm on my way to Salt Lake City, and what a dream. Yeah, you saw me with the old mask on. Man, it's a hit or miss with the coworkers there. A lot of folks are saying that it's the mark of the beast and it's a right and all that other stuff, which I agree with on some level. Like, I get it. I get where you're coming from. If you're one of those folks from that camp, I get it. In a lot of ways, I sympathize with it, but yeah, I try to evaluate things like on a, like the converse of this. I don't know if I'm explaining. That doesn't make any sense the way I just said that. But here's the thing. Like, is there a situation in which I would have not worn a mask and would later on regret it, versus is there a situation in which I was wearing a mask and would look back and regret it? And the wearing a mask kind of wins every time if you look at that logically. And also, it's just, I mean, if you want to go into the truck stop like I just did, go use the restroom, come back out, finish up the break and everything, and they want you to wear a mask, why wouldn't you? I mean, that's how I feel. I know it's an unpopular opinion. I'm not apologizing for it. I'm just saying I know it's unpopular. But, yeah, and then in my personal life, if it makes people around me more comfortable to be around me, if I have a mask on, I'm more than happy to do that for people that I care about. I'm not really interested in picking that hill to die on as far as like straining relationships, etc. Enough of that. Back to work. Something really cool that's happened that I'm probably going to get some footage of here when I get to stop again. I just don't have enough time to deal with it now. I carry an extra jug of oil in the box there on that side, on the passenger side, and got out to fuel, and there's just oil dripping down everywhere. And it didn't take me long to figure out that's not a mechanical issue. That's a jug exploded full of Dello 400 or whatever we're running now. And it's all saturated into the mat underneath that bunk and dripping down the sides. And I just got this truck shined up right before I got off the road on Thursday. So, oh, bummer. That's it for now. We'll check in with you in a little while. Yo, is that noisy or what? Let's do this old trick here. Oh, that's gonna be worse if I roll out the window. Technical difficulties, sound stage set. Oh, maybe I should turn this light off for, how's that for ambience or ambiance, or whichever way I can pronounce it to sound more sophisticated and better at the old vlogging there. Hey, remember how I said all that oil was a problem? It's still a problem. Didn't quite get around to, doing my job or whatever. Pretty exhausted once I got stopped. It's not usually the case from just a straight driving day, but I just came off of a pretty wicked home time. And by wicked, I mean wicked, man. Like awesome. But one of the problems is the missus and I, we were on a road trip yesterday that was like 300 plus miles. And then we had a couple of monsters that we created together that were hanging out in the back seat being monsters. So it took a little minute to get home. And then it was like in the middle of the night and all that stuff. And then I had to wake up at the crack of dawn to get going. So the sleep depravity. Oh, excuse me. I'm better, I promise. Man, everything's just haywire. The sleep depravity, deprivation, etc., on account of the children, whom I love. Yeah, that was a little bit of an issue. But hey, let me take this moment to abrogate myself from responsibilities of the mess that I created and am ignoring at this time, to tell you about my my super cool souvenir from this weekend. Hold up a second. Oh, these are my pasty white boy legs. Beautiful sight, I know. You're excited. See the contrast? That's where I was wearing shorts this weekend, and that's where they stopped. I usually don't wear shorts, but this is pretty nasty. I just soaked it up with some aloe vera, but I don't know if you can tell. You can kind of see there, but I got some pretty good blisters on that burn. Pretty sweet, right? Okay, man, what was I saying? Oh yeah, updates about my weekend. So it's 4th of July. That's a big deal on account of I'm American, and so that means that I'm not allowed to work and I have to go do stuff with my family. But my family's kind of all weird because I got married at some point, and then I kind of like inherited this whole other family. And what's weird about that is there was like more than one, because like sometime back in fairy tale land, like my wife, her folks didn't quite get along, so they went off and found more folks of their own, so they like split off branches of the tree, etc. And then in my family, like my folks kind of did the same thing, so now we got all these like different groups of parents, and now we went ahead and procreated, and then now these kids that we made, they're like, we were like, hey, just so you know, we're not really gonna do a whole ton of stuff for you on account of you have like 16 million grandparents. So we're just gonna create this super complex, like weird time struggle where we're gonna try to provide you time with all of your grandparents. So we're on a rotation. And so then this year, I got to hang out with my in-laws because my wife was like, this year we're partying it up with my family. And I was like, that's cool and everything on account of, you know, it's been how many years since I've even seen them because of the rotation, you know? So we went up to this camping trip and it was legit. We were up on the Trinity River, which is in Northern California. Let me know when you need more details. Can I be more detailed about this? Yeah, so we're in Trinity County on the Trinity River in Northern California. We're just camping out. And since my in-laws like really like me and everything, they were like, you know, it would be cool is if we could camp with you, but we could ensure that you were like sort of far away from us. And so we're gonna rent you a whole other different campsite with a trailer and everything, so we don't even really have to see you that much. I don't really know if that was their reasoning, but it could have been. But joke on them if it was, because I was like, hey, I'm gonna hang out at your campsite. I don't know if these are jokes or not. We'll see later on in the story. So the in-laws there, they set us up, they took care of us, they hooked us up with some food, and then we were like, here are some small children, entertain those for a little while. What do you think of that? And then of course they just loved it because they don't live with them. They're just like, oh yeah, these are the best. Look at all these cool noises they make, and man, isn't that really cute? And we're like, ugh, you know, once every month or so that you hang out with them, it's probably awesome. But like day after day after day, kind of annoying. So we're like, hey, hang out with grandma and grandpa. It was fun. It was fun. And then this was the thing, is that like at a certain point, like on Saturday of our 3-day trip or whatever, my mother-in-law was like, hey, we have all these kayaks and flotation boats and devices, and like, wouldn't it be cool if we put those in the river, since we're camping right on the river? And then we're like, we can just, the river will just take us down to another spot downstream, and then we'll get out there, and then someone will give us a ride all the way back to camp with all the boats and stuff in the back of the pickup. And I was like, I'm on it. So I loaded myself up with cold beverage, maybe 2, I'm not gonna lie. And we hit the water. I brought water too, to be honest with you, because I know hydration's rule number 1. So we got out there, and then I was talking to like my wife's uncle, and I was like, hey man, we're going down on this river trip. And he was like, yeah, they did a small like teaser float earlier in the day. And so then he was like, yeah, I'm gonna sit this one out, and you can take the longer one. They're like, this is gonna be like a longer, like 3-hour float. And I was like, dope, sounds awesome. So I was like, hey, Amanda, you know, my wife, I was like, hey, how about I just go ahead and take off and leave you here with the kids? And since like I drive a truck and I do that all the time anyway, she was like, I would expect no less. And I was like, awesome, thank you, you're so like amenable. And so I just hopped in this kayak. So I asked Gabe, her uncle, I was like, hey man, what are these, like, which of these different boats here should I use? And he was like, use this one, this is mine, it's awesome, it's off the hook, it's totally tight. And he was telling me all the adventures he had with it, and I felt like connected to this kayak. So I was like, okay, we're doing this. So then shoved off, headed down, everything was going awesome. It was like me, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of their friends. And so it was a blast. We were just hanging out, cruising down this river. I was like being sneaky. I had this fishing rod stuffed into my kayak, so every once in a while I'd pull that out, and I was like going for fish. I was just like, it's the closest thing to multitasking that I think I've ever pulled off in my life. I was pretty proud of it. But then when I found out, started looking around, and I was a little nervous about it to begin with, but I looking around, everybody else had either paddle boards or sit on top kayaks, and I'm in the sit in kayak. And when it came down to like where the water's getting all riffled up, I got sideways, and that boat just filled up with water because I didn't have the skirt or the shielding or whatever that goes around to keep water from going inside. It just sank. And then I was like, the first time it happened, it sank, and I was in the middle of these rapids, and then I had to like float down the rapids with my body, and I was like hitting rocks and stuff, and it wasn't super bad on account of there was moss everywhere, so kind of just like a slip and slide that was harder than you wanted it to like be ideally. And then I ended up going into this pool, and then I had to swim through the pool. And I mean, I'm thinking like probably 200 yards, 300 yards or so that I ended up having to do that and get down. And like, it was totally awesome because like the couple of the pals that my in-laws have, they were real industrious, and they found the kayak, they went after it, chased it down, got it up onto shore for me, saved my fishing rod, my sandals, everything was awesome. So I got back in and I was like, this is great. And they even saved like the beverage I hadn't consumed yet, and I was like, yeah. Yeah, it was a blast. But then that happened like 5 more times or 4 more times. I think it was 5 times total that I filled up with water and had to go through the whole scenario. Well, my mother-in-law, she said it was gonna be like 3 hours. That was a lie. She lied to me straight up. And it ended up being like, oh man, a lot more hours than that. And it was starting to get dark, and we were getting worried. And then this whole other set of circumstances happened with some people that we were like, that were in our group. They had brought their kid with them, and she was like 4. And they hit a bump, and she ended up falling out. And so she was soaking wet. She was getting cold, and things were looking kind of hairy, because it's like, man, it's getting dark, and we don't know how much further we have to go. And I was like, dang. So we're just paddling. And oh, it was crazy. It was fun though. But we got out, and we were just wrecked. The lot of us, a bunch of us had fallen out and got bruised and bumped. My pa-in-law there, he had like a big knot on his knee, and he could barely walk. And we all just felt like we'd been run over by a train. And I used muscle groups that I'm not really akin to using on account of I'm a truck driver. I don't do a lot of paddling day to day. So like my shoulders and my neck, and then my legs from being banged up and stuff, got some good bruises. And then the sunburn is brutal because I never wear shorts, hardly ever. And then I wore shorts, and I just got burned the heck up. So yeah, that was an adventure. And we got back to camp, and I was being like real disrespectful to my mom-in-law. I was like, hey, you better start cooking me dinner right now. Like, you owe me. You lied to me about, you put my life in danger. And I'll be darned, she did. She made me some hamburgers. It was great. Yeah, anyways, to conclude this story, I had an awesome 4th of July weekend. But now I'm on the road, and I'm back at it, guys. We're going to do some vlogging. I broke my phone a couple weeks ago. If you're watching on Facebook, you probably didn't see the update, because I tried to upload it from this interim phone that I had, and all the technology just wasn't working, because my phone is my everything, you know? And so I had to get my phone replaced, which I finally did. So now I'm kind of like set back up to do it again. And yeah, you missed a couple of runs that I did out on the road the last couple weeks, but I broke my phone, so everything kind of just came to a halt. So now I'm back at it, back out on the road. Just got out here again today, and life is good. We're gonna keep trucking. But I just wanted to tell you about my epic weekend, and tell you that I missed you guys. Some of you guys have been asking me, what's going on? Are you still out there? And it's like, it makes me feel good when I get feedback from you guys. And if you like were waiting for a video, I'm sorry that I let you down, but we're getting back into it now. 10 minutes, 28 seconds. I could probably go, honestly, another half hour just talking about my weekend if you wanted me to, but I'm assuming probably not, so we'll just call it good. But yeah. Look forward to tomorrow. Tomorrow's a work day. We're going to unload, we're going to reload, and we're going to get some more miles down the road. So it's going to be pretty awesome. But anyways, just, hey, happy to be back. See you guys again. Give me a comment, or get in touch with me down below, or however it works. And let's get back into the routine. I missed you guys. So we'll check in tomorrow. Later.